Hello, my friends. I'm having technical difficulties for some reason with my laptop. Can't seem to get on Facebook Live. So I'm going to do a brief kind of a summary of what I want to say. I'm going to see if I can make this work after playing around with it, but I wanted to just give you a heads up. I've posted an upload of a file for you to see, which describes what I want this week's message to be. And it's kind of an extension of the whole idea of blind spots being your best friends and why that is so, and the bigger picture here for you and me. The real question is, what's it all about, Alfie? In other words, what are we here for? What's it all about? How come some things are so hard for us and some things might not be? And the blind spots kind of point the way to where we need to see more clearly, where we need to clear the way to step through our fears, to really not allow fear to blind us, literally, because fear does blind us. And so one of the questions is, if we understand we have fears, we do, and we understand that fear often stops us from doing what we really want to do, what we long to do, what we long to experience. And so the clue of where fear might be getting in our way, in any way whatsoever, is those areas of our lives in which we're feeling some disconnect, some unfulfillment, some dissatisfaction, for us to ask the question, where's the rub right now? What is it that I have a longing to experience in my life that I'm not experiencing? And this is to remind us all that we are all created in God's image, that we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, and that we are born with the Spirit within us to create and fulfill our lives as we were created to do, and as we were created to be. And if we've been living that big lie, if we've been living our lives thinking that we're not enough, or that it's too late, or that we're too fat, or too thin, or too old, or too young, or not enough of this, or too much of that, but just not right for what we have a longing to be and to experience, that's the clue. That's the blind spot. So let me give you a little example of what I'm talking about. Many of you know that I've been widowed for many years. And I've had a grand adventure since becoming widowed. I've discovered many different people. I've known some wonderful men and some not so wonderful men. And I've learned along the way what I want and what I don't want. And recently I delved even deeper into myself, asking, where is my greatest unfulfillment right now? And what I wanted to pretend didn't matter, I discovered does matter. And it does matter that I don't have someone special in my life, in a romantic relationship, in a serious relationship, in a dedicated relationship, in which I can feel free to be the lover I am. Now, I can be the lover I am with the very special people in my life, my grandchildren, my good friends, certain other members of my family, where I can be myself. I can call them any endearment I want. I can cook for them, I can hug them, I can kiss them, and that's wonderful, and it's very fulfilling for me. When I was married 32 years to the love of my life, I know what it's like to be in partnership that's satisfying and loving, and where I can share my life with someone else on a day-to-day basis. And so for the past 12 plus years, I've been attracted to unavailable men, and then found myself feeling unfulfilled, saying, what's wrong with this picture? So Saturday night, I decided to go online again. I haven't been online for quite a while. And I went on Our Time, and I did a search for the man I'm looking for, recognizing, as Rumi and others have said, what you are seeking is seeking you. And after the work I did last week on myself, last weekend, for a week ago, in which I was digging even deeper into understanding the nature of my fears that were getting in the way of what I had a longing to experience, I understood more deeply about how those fears were creating blind spots for me. And so I got very clear about what I long for and what I'm willing to believe and take a leap of faith that is there for me already. Now, I don't know yet. I don't know yet whether or not the person that I connected with, and out of about 100 profiles that I went through, I chose one. And it's a man who's about my age. He lives nearby. He's Jewish. He wants a serious relationship. He loves the music I love. He loves to cook, and he appreciates a woman who loves to cook. That would be me. He loves to go to the theater. He loves to go to the movies. Music just to listen to enjoy. In a word, he's looking for a life partner. He's widowed, I'm widowed. All the things that I said I want and am looking for. So we're having lunch on Saturday. We had a delightful conversation this morning. So we shall see. But I'm willing to say, I want this, and I deserve this, and I want to feel fulfilled. I want to be the woman I am, and I want to have a partner in my life with whom I can be me. So the exercises I gave you last week, I'll bet you haven't looked. I only gave you 4 questions to think about. So I'm going to remind you of what those questions are. First question, I'm paraphrasing the question now, is what are the blind spots you can now recognize that you've had in the past, which you've now uncovered? Now, with my example of my blind spot, what I've uncovered is my fear at this stage of my life in loving someone else I might lose. So not so strange that I lost my husband. It was not a pretty picture. It was a long, difficult illness. I was his caregiver, and I wasn't interested in being in a relationship in which I'd have to possibly have the task of taking care of someone else again and losing someone that I love. But that's life. Life is a risk every step along the way. So I recognized that, and I decided when I signed up on this dating site Saturday night, I'm taking a risk reaching out to meet someone. I'm taking a risk establishing a new relationship. I'm taking a risk getting to know someone who might disappoint me. I'm taking a risk in saying I'd like to have a serious relationship that's dedicated, and maybe I'll become, involved with this person and love them and be myself, and maybe he drops dead, or maybe I drop dead. Of course, if I drop dead, I don't have the problem he does. But that's the risk we all take. So I've decided, I'm recognizing my fear. I recognize that my fear provided me with lots of blind spots and lots of obstacles. But I now know what my fear was, and I'm willing to face it. So you could come up with all kinds of examples for yourself, but I'm inviting you to take a look at this question again. The second question, again, I'm paraphrasing from last week's worksheet. Who are some of the people in your life about whom you've had blind spots, and some truths about yourself that you've learned from them once you finally could see the light? Well, 2 of the people that I've been attracted to and interested in the most recent past, have been unavailable to me. So what was that telling me about me? What was my blind spot? My blind spot is that I was also making myself unavailable to them. And so it goes. It might seem simple once I say it, but we all have to dig deep to find the answer. The third question, what are some important truths about yourself that you've learned about yourself from uncovering blind spots? Some of you know that I've had kind of an upending situation this past year in my living situation. And I had many blind spots about that whole process. So the person that I thought was a friend that I was going to live with and, have a nice household together, there are certain things I didn't see in this person. And I didn't see in the situation. And I didn't see in the house that we rented because I was engulfed by the fear of having to find a place to live because I needed to leave my condo. Fear in living alone because I had been given to believe that I should be afraid to be alone because I'm getting older and I had a fall and we don't want you to be at risk and all that sort of thing. So I was being governed by fear left and right. I didn't even see it. So I didn't see, because I was blind, I didn't see certain personality traits in the person that I thought was my friend that were red flags all along. I just didn't see it because my fear blinded me to wanting to see a situation that I needed to have because I was afraid of being alone and I needed to find a place to live and a situation that I thought would work for me. The irony is it didn't work, and I'm continuing to learn all kinds of things about myself now as I look back over the whole ordeal and situation and adventure. So the last question is, what fears have your blind spots been covering up for you? So it's a very important question. And we all have fears. Now, it doesn't mean the fears go away, but once we acknowledge that they're there, we can face them and either choose to reach deep for courage and take action anyway, like I did in reaching out to this guy and making a date with him for lunch on Saturday and seeing what happens. I could have a fear of being disappointed. I face the fear of being disappointed, and I'm going to take action anyway. So part of what I want you to do this week is to continue to ask the next question, and that is, what unfulfillment do I have in my life which may be a clue to more of my blind spots? So I want you to look more deeply and closely at your life right now and ask yourself the question, where am I feeling unfulfilled? Where am I feeling dissatisfied? Where am I feeling frustrated? And to ask yourself, where is fear standing in my way of having what I want, being what I want to be, doing what I want to do? In what way is fear standing in the way? And let's talk about that. Put your comments down. Let me hear from you. That's all for now, my friends. I hope this is helpful.